on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the blood.
Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast live here on Facebook.
We live, fellas. Let's go.
Let's go. So we have a dope conversation for you tonight. But before we get into it, let's introduce the crew. First, we have KJ.
Yo, what's up?
We got Cordell.
What up? What up?
We got AJ. And I'm T-Dub. Welcome to the pod. We got a dope conversation for you guys tonight. But first, share, like, comment, subscribe. Join us in the conversation. That's the reason why we're going live tonight. We want to get some involvement. So lock in with us. Share your thoughts. Share your concerns. Whether you agree, disagree, we want to hear what you have to say. So lock in with us. Tonight's conversation is going to be authority versus influence. Yeah. Right? And before we get into it, let's just give you our definitions of what those things are. KJ, you want to hit them with the definitions for us?
For sure. Authority is the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. And for influence, we have the capacity to have an effect on character, pardon me, on the character development or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself.
Yes, sir. So now that we got those definitions of what we consider authority versus influence, let's get into the conversation. Cordell, thoughts?
Oh, man. So when I think of authority first, I think of it as something that has to be given to you. Something that's a power that has to be given to you. Mm-hmm. And then when I think of influence, I think it's more relational. Yeah. Where it's not given to you, but it's almost power that you've kind of earned based on who you are. So that's how I look at it between the two. And they can seem similar, but they're totally different when it comes to relational and dealing with people. And we'll get a little bit more into it. So that's my first, on that part.
Yeah, I agree. For me, authority, just to break it down in simple terms, is kind of like a title that's given, right? Mm-hmm. An office or rules, right? Like they have the authority of how you dictate how you handle things within a certain location, right? And for influence, I have trust, respect, and inspiration, right? More about the feelings that you get from the person versus what they're telling you to do in terms of different types of leadership.
So, I'll say basically it's all the same thing, but the only thing I'll add is authority. You only can get authority from someone who has authority. So someone has to already be in position in order to give you that position. That's how you get authority. So like your manager at work didn't just choose to be the manager. Somebody above them said, you're the manager now. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how authority works. And I think influence is more like the people's champ. If you think of wrestling, The Rock, it's just the thing that the people want, as opposed to somebody who was in power giving that person power. But now the influence is based off of, like you said, your previous acts. That now I can look at it and say, you know what, I think you would fit well in this position, or I want to see you in this light based off of your previous actions.
Well, what about politics?
So, if I was going to take it to politics.
No, I'm just saying, because you said somebody has to have the authority to give someone authority.
So technically they do. So, at least in our country, the way you become president, people feel like it's the popular vote, but the popular vote doesn't actually get you into presidential candidacy. You actually have to win the Electoral College. The Electoral College is basically the House of Representatives, and the people in the Senate vote. And there's everybody has their state representatives. They have their house, their city councilors and stuff like that. Those people vote on behalf of their state. So they'll say, all right, Massachusetts is a Democratic state. So your hope is that your city councilors, your senators and stuff like that vote as Democrats. But they have a choice because they speak for the people. However, they can choose what they want realistically.
Yeah, so let's jump into it, guys. So let's jump into like real world applications, right? So like in the workplace, right? We're all working gentlemen, right? So in the workplace, do we follow because people have authority or because we want to, based on their influence?
So I had down in my notes, it says, and I wrote this when I was thinking about it earlier. Authority makes people follow because they have to. Mm-hmm. Influence makes people follow because they want to.
Right.
And to go with the question, I think you can have authority but no influence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can have influence with no authority.
Absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean? But so I think it's important to, as a leader, to know to be a person of authority, but also you want influence too. You know what I mean? And it's good to have a balance so that I don't just want to lead people just because I have the authority, but I want them to be able to follow my lead because of my influence. You know what I mean? Right. And because of the person of who I am, and they know that I care about them. I think people are more easier to buy in when they know that you actually care about them, you know?
Yeah. For me, that sounds like trust.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? When you have authority, but people don't trust your decision making, it's tough for people to buy in, right? And even when you have influence, people may like the way you communicate, right? In the way that you operate in a certain environment, right? But if they don't trust in the fact that you're making good decisions, that you have a high level of character and a value, it's tough to get the buy-in.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, I liken it to this because we were talking about just working. Everybody has that manager or that supervisor that you feel like, I don't know how they got there. So, like,
Right.
like if we just go call a spade, like there's people that don't have that type of trust where, whereas you have that person that you are confident in, that you may reside, your trust is in, who you're more likely to listen. So the manager might tell you to do something, and then it really depends on the person of influence, depending on the person, on what they do next. Because somebody might say, oh, the manager does it wrong. That doesn't actually work as a person of influence, and now you're conflicted. Or the person of influence also buys into what the manager says. Yeah, nah, I actually learned it from the manager. That's what we should be doing, and give like the confidence back into that manager, kind of to put that support system back in place. So yeah, I think it all depends on the person. I think it all depends on your experiences, on who you follow, whether it's authority or influence. However, if you don't follow authority, there are consequences. And if you don't follow influence, there's really nothing left to that.
Yeah, I get you. Go ahead.
It depends on depends on who's holding the cards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because if one person has both cards,
Right.
then like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not necessarily going to compartmentalize. Like, if you don't
Right.
bend to their influence, but they have the authority, they may you could still be consequenced in that
Right.
regard in a professional setting. You know, but I don't know. It's just it's tough and professional because like, you know, things aren't always going to be divided, and like it's not a requirement
Right.
to have influence or be personable.
Right.
Like, that may make things a little smoothed out in some situations that you need a massage. But honestly, like, some of the best bosses have no personal relationships with you.
Very true.
So, I mean, you know, like, boundaries are important. And sometimes the fact that, you know, what people do to build relational equity with a person may mess around and, like, kind of undercut some of the authority. Because then when they look at you, you know, one of the things you build is friendship. One of the things you build is trust. But when that friendship and or kinship is there, like, sometimes it could be hard to tell someone what to do. Like, sometimes without that personable element, people adhere to authority a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Jump down in the comments, guys. Share your thoughts. Share your opinions on what we got going on. Cordell is going to be moderating our chat for us tonight. So if you have anything, you know, share. Get involved.
We got comments already. Whoops, whoops.
So I think so that's a tough one. I love how KJ broke it down because in the workplace, right? It's not my job to be influential.
Right.
It's my job really to get the job done
Absolutely.
with the authority that I've been given.
Correct.
So there's times where, and then honestly, it works the same way in the church. Right? It's a hard thing because we want people to always be friendly and this and that. But it's like, if I'm a pastor, my job is to make sure, steward your soul.
I think it's tougher in the church.
It is.
Absolutely.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Because you're not in my opinion, it's not really suggested that you be so rigid.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas in the job, like that can be an unspoken truth that everybody automatically accepts. But if you're ruling with an iron fist in church, like you can end up being known as the mean guy or the
Right.
bad guy.
Right.
You know, so that could be tough. Yeah.
And I think as a leader in the church, sometimes you gotta have both.
You got to have both. Yes.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Jesus had both.
Yes. So I think it's a matter of you have to have stern thoughts. So having the authoritative power, you have to walk in that authority. But you also want to use your influence. Jesus had both, as you stated.
Yeah.
So you want people to feel confident in you as a pastor. You want people to feel confident in you as a minister, because you don't want congregations who don't feel comfortable coming to talk to you about stuff that you should be stewarding. Like I can't say that I'm doing a good job as a pastor if none of my congregations feel comfortable bringing up issues to me.
Yeah.
Like I can't say that.
Well, okay. You know, I'm going to challenge that.
Hit me.
Only because I believe that you could delegate.
Yes. Okay. I'll give you
You could
that.
delegate, and you could put people in position that are amazing at relational equity. Like
How-
you could put people. What'd you say?
No, wait. I'll let you finish.
No, I was just saying. Like, I mean, if I felt like I wasn't the most personable,
Right.
okay. For example, I'll give you the easiest example that pops into my head.
Yep.
Gender.
Okay.
So, as a man, I may not want to be as personable,
Right.
And as a married man or a responsible pastor, and with all the scandals that have happened historically
Yep,
with
right,
pastors
right.
overstepping boundaries, I may want to keep clear boundaries with my female patrons,
Right.
But what I may do is I may empower my wife
Right.
or someone else that's trusted that I believe in
Yeah.
their faith walk, and delegate all these. Well, in our church we call them life groups, but make sure that people are like having like for lack of better words, faith accountability partners, and be able to talk to them about what's going on with them personally, because I really don't want you calling me at 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Because it doesn't look right.
Unless it's really, really something where you're really not okay. But other than that, I'd want your go-to not to be me.
So I agree with that, and I don't think there's a problem with discipleship and delegating tasks. However, even with that scenario, you have to have a relationship with the woman that you're putting in place, because
Sure.
even if, like, you know what I'm saying, like in order to be a pastor, the pastor, if we go into the Bible, we talk about Jesus calls us the sheep of his flock. You know what I'm saying? If we're going into the Bible, you have to know your sheep. And not to say that, like, all right, I may not get into the weeds with everybody, but everybody should feel comfortable coming to the shepherd, because the shepherd is there to groom you. The shepherd is there to nurture you. The shepherd is there to feed you. The shepherd is there to give you drink. Like, the shepherd is there to take care of you, essentially. So I think we have to, not to say that we can't be stern, because some things we have to be stern with. There's some things that can't bend. There's some things that can't be broken. And there's other things that, all right, let me walk this through with kids' gloves so I can get you to the place where I want you to be, or the place where God wants you to be. Not me specifically, but where God is trying to take you. And it may, if God gives me that, it'll be better received from sister so-and-so or evangelist so-and-so or whatever, whichever title, then that's the thing. But when you're first starting out, you may not have all those positions or those roles filled. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you may have to kind of walk that thing out and then get to that place where you can say, all right, cool, this is going to be handled by so-and-so. Because going back to the influence thing, I've seen you and your work. I've seen what you've created. The Bible says that bad trees can't produce good fruit. So good trees have to produce good fruit. So knowing that, I got to be able to see your work and how you're working in the vineyard, how you treat the people around you. And now I can say, okay, you can assist me in nurturing these people.
Valuable point. Cordell, anything in the comments yet?
No, we ain't got nothing in the comments yet. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, what's up, T? Always speaking that truth."
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Okay, appreciate
and that comes from Jenny Kara.
All right. What's up, girl?
Believe that.
Yes, sir. All right. So we talked about it in the workspace. So let's talk about it. Half of the panel has the parenting title, right? So let's talk about parenting, authority versus influence, right? Is it better to, set rules and boundaries, or is it better to lead by example when it comes to parenting?
Ooh.
Both. I think it's both. The rules and boundaries for me, and I think it correlates to what God does for us. I put these rules in place to protect your life. Like, God didn't just give us the 10 commandments for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, these rules are not for you to just follow, but they're for you to sustain life. Right? Thou shalt not kill. It's for you to be the safety for you. So as parents, I think I set out rules because I need order in my house. And it's also for the benefit, even though you might not like it, it's to benefit you.
Right.
But also, I'm going to lead by example with the things that need to get done around the house, right? So I tell my son to take out the trash, but it's also important for him to see me do it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's important for us to lead by example, but also have, and also they need to know I ain't their friend. That's the authority aspect of it, right? Like, I'm your father. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I want to have a personal relationship with you, so I can have that influence to where I can be your friend. Right, but I'm not your friend. You know what I mean? So that's kind of,
Yeah, to me, it sounds like continuity, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can set these rules in place, but I have to also follow them and lead by example to show you that not only am I telling you to do this, but I can follow it for myself, right? But I also understand that there's a point where I have to give you the responsibility of doing these things. I was doing this before you were here, right?
Yep.
So when you get to a certain age, it's now a point that you have to become a member of this family and be an active member, right? And now you have to do things to kind of pull your own weight. Right? Because you don't have to pay bills, you don't have to keep the lights on, but you're benefiting from all of these things. So you can take some of the things off of my plate that I've been doing until you are willing and able to do some of those things.
Yep.
That's also a good point. All right. My next component, marriage, right? Authority in marriage and influence in marriage. Right, I'm getting ready to get married, right? So I'm going to take the Nestea plunge, as it were, So like, should I double down in leading in authority, or should I lead with influence?
I think with marriage is closer to influence, only because, like, you have the authority. God has given us the authority as the man, which is cool. But I want my wife to feel comfortable with my decisions. I want my wife to feel comfortable in what I say and the actions I take and the way that we're leading. And an only way for me to know that she feels comfortable is for me to be influential. I have to receive her buy-in. I have to receive her engagement. I have to know that she's comfortable, because when she's comfortable, everything runs smooth. But if she's not comfortable because I'm going from an authoritative place, now the relationship is stressed. Now maybe the kids are stressed because she's stressed. Like, a lot of stuff goes into that kind of ruling with the iron thumb, where now you can create little pockets of resentment, and little things that, like, you'll have to work through at some point because you kind of went too heavy on the authoritative place. So I think for that scenario is more influential. And then for my kids, just to tag on that real quick, I come from a place of authority, but I also understand that my kids may not always accept everything I say. So I try to go from a place of influence. I try to encourage their cousins, their friends, their sisters, Basically, so they will come from a place of influence, knowing that I have their best interests at heart, because they might not always hear it from me, but they might hear it from somebody else.
Sure.
I think it just made me think about God literally gave us the instructions for both. When it comes to the children, he said, train them up.
Correct.
So when it comes to when I think of training, I think more of the authoritative aspect. You know what I mean? But also, as a trainer, I'm training someone, I wouldn't go to a personal trainer that's not in shape.
Solid.
You know what I mean?
Solid.
Because I want to see if you're actually doing
Living
what
it
you're
out.
teaching. You know what I
Right.
mean? So in for the wife aspect, what did God tell us to do? Love our wives.
Love your wife.
You know what I mean? Like Christ loved the church. And I see more of an influence aspect on that. But I would say you lead with influence, but there is an authoritative part to it because God gave us the order of
Correct.
how a family should look too. Like he literally said, this is how it's going. Jesus first, the man, the woman, and the children.
Correct.
Now, where the problem come in is the man submitting to Christ first.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Is the man
Like-
submitting to his authority? Because if the man is not submitting to his authority, then the woman won't submit to her authority.
And your authority is under the influence of God.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So that's the important part. Are you following his example? You know what I mean? Goes back to, Yep. So yeah. What do you
I feel like it's very situational, right? I think that there are times where there needs to be an authority to make decisions and to follow through and to make sure that things are happening in a structured way, right? Because without the authority, there could be a lack of structure, right?
Very true.
And there needs to be structure for things to play out in an effective way. But I think that there's also the influence and there's also love and kindness and tenderness that has to be enmeshed within that relationship as
Right.
well, right? So I think it can be very situational.
I mean, to your point, I believe that all of those things build up for the moment when the other things cannot be present.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you're building up, like, we talked about trust. You're building up that safety, that emotional equity, that relational equity within a relationship and or marriage.
Right.
For the moments when it has to be cut and dry and
Right,
you have to say
right.
this is what it is. Like if you're saying this is what it is all the time, that's a very cold household.
Listen.
But if like you said, like when the situation comes and it's dire and you have to just be this, it's like, okay, like I know you mean well because you're not like this all the time every day.
Right.
Like that's where the understanding component comes in for me.
Right. And also understanding that there is value in their opinions, right? Like
Absolutely.
I may be the person who
Yes.
makes the final decision, but I'm also going to take counsel. You
Right.
know what I mean? From my partner or my spouse who is going to look at things from a different perspective, look at things from a different angle. And then with the combined knowledge of what I know and believe, what she's been able to give me from her perspective, now I can take all of those things and make the best decision for us as a unit. Because it's not my decision. It's
Correct.
everything is now ours. You know what I'm saying? So I can't make a decision based on what I want. I have to make a decision based on what's best for our family.
Right.
No matter what that looks like. You know what I mean?
So just to address a couple comments, I know we are buffering a little bit, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're working on that, trying to get that set for you. And a couple people said we were frozen and they couldn't hear. Sorry for that. We're gonna try to get that up and going for you guys. But my brother said in his comment, Mathis Daniels, he said, "A woman will follow a man when she feels protected in every decision we make as a man." So that's good feedback right there.
Yeah, I like the word. I like the word
Protected.
in conjunction, like protected in your decision making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because that goes back to what you said about like just considering everyone. Like it's like that's something to be said about being in a position of authority. You're not just looking out for self.
Right.
You're looking out for who you have authority over.
Right. Right.
Right. And just because you're in a position of authority doesn't mean that you're always right 100%
Correct.
of the time, right?
Sure.
I think the value comes in and the transparency comes in when you can admit that, hey, I didn't make the right decision, or this wasn't the best thing, or I need other people's opinions to help me decide to make the best decision for everyone involved,
Yeah.
especially as a leader, right? Because we can always defer to other people or delegate to other people, but if we trust these people enough to give them positions in our life or
Exactly.
in our organization that brings brings value. If we don't listen to that, then there's no equity. And then those people aren't going to feel comfortable bringing those things to you if you're never listening to what you're saying because you have ultimate authority, right?
Yes, sir.
I think when it comes to marriage sometimes, though, I think it's important for us to be a team.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
And I think that's where, just because I'm the man in the house, there's things my wife got authority over.
100%.
Absolutely.
Point blank, period. And if she say this is what it is, I'm rocking with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because first of all, that was a part of the negotiation when we put this to the table. These are the things you're great at. You know what I mean? So I'm trusting you in these areas. You know what I mean? So she has authority in those areas. Not saying that my input doesn't matter. You know what I
Right.
mean? But then there's sometimes we have to, the coach got to call the play sometime. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I think, but that's when she will defer and be like, okay, I'm trusting in you. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to know that when it comes to the marriage, it's a team effort. And our goal is to succeed together.
Absolutely.
You know? So
Absolutely.
that's the goal, but it don't always work like that. I think where some marriages clashes where those roles are not defined and the power. I don't even say roles because I'm not a fan of roles. I'm not a fan of roles in my house. It's more like if it need to get done, let's do it. Whoever it is.
Solid.
If the trash and like one thing my wife won't do is take out the trash, which I ain't got a problem with that because I don't expect her to. But if the dishes need to get clean, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like if the so it's more of a team effort. But that shows a level of influence. But I think it also shows humbling yourself is actually giving somebody else authority. So how would I word it? One of the biggest influences is giving somebody else the authority.
Right. And even going with the team analogy, right? Like the quarterback doesn't punt the ball,
Right,
And
right.
there's value in each one of those things. If we haven't made it to the point where we can get a first down, right? On fourth down, there's no point for me to have the quarterback in the game when I need to flip the field, right? Now the value comes into the punter who can cough and kick in the corner and drop the ball at the 2-yard line,
One, right.
Like that's valuable,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If my offense is struggling and I need somebody to flip the field so our defense can have more space, you know what I'm saying, on the field to stop the offense, right?
Right.
Like that becomes valuable, right? So every position is valuable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go-
Amber said, let's go to our comments real quick. Amber said, God gives each person gifts and insight for the family. When both are valued, it's a beautiful thing. I love that. And then my wife made a comment on here. I took the trash out when you went on the retreat.
Right. Let them know. Let the record show.
She said, I took the trash out when you went on the retreat. But yeah, all right. That's
But
good. That's
only
good.
because you weren't present.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Helen, for taking the trash out.
That's
Getting things done out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. That's dope. That's dope.
But I was gonna go along with that sports analogy because I like that. Because if we're talking football, there's multiple coaches on a football team.
Yeah.
Like it's not just one coach. There's a head coach, but there's also a defensive coordinator. There's an offensive coordinator. Like, and these people work together in tangent to make sure we can put each other in the best position.
Yeah.
Because they all want to win, essentially. And understanding that we all want to get to a place will help when you can kind of look at it from that lens of we're all trying to get to our goal. So yeah, that's dope. I like that analogy.
I don't made me think about LeBron though.
Hey, listen,
Right?
It don't work the same in basketball.
It don't, right?
Like I was about to say, like
Go ahead, break it down. Because I was looking at like
just
it's
being
different.
a basketball fan. Like I mean, like
it's not really a team game no more.
no, I wouldn't even say that.
I think the
It's
more
just
of the
that,
business side gets into it. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, like when I look at football, like I can relate what you said about football
Yeah.
to like a family.
Right.
I can relate what you said about football to a church.
Yep.
Right.
I can relate that to a job.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of bosses and underbosses,
Yep.
for lack of better
Right,
words. But like, yo, like it took a while for us to like even know who else was on the coaching staff
Yeah.
in a basketball team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the head coach is the head coach.
Yeah.
Right.
At least from optic standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like, if we were gonna relate that to family, I'd probably put it in more of a toxic space and be
Yep.
like, "Yo, that's a lot of ego
It is.
to have to be solely viewed
Right.
as the person that has all
The control.
all the authority, all the influence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's tough. Like even a coach, like
Because you do need help regardless.
Yeah.
No
Right.
matter what. Everybody needs help. Like the person that swears they have it all covered is delegating something and
Yep.
getting some help.
yep,
So it's like, yo, disrespect the fact that we're a unit.
it's tough. I think about basketball too. It's like because it can be hard sometimes because it's such a it's a team sport, but it's more individual because it's only 5 people on the court at the
Right.
time. But it's tough when you have a star that's really good, like a LeBron. It's hard to coach that because he's gonna have more influence than what I'm saying.
But that's
Okay,
this the
so
whole.
what do you
there it
so
is.
what do you do?
Right.
So what do you do when you have authority
Yep.
and someone under you, their influence is so strong that it overpowers the person in position of authority?
the first thing I would probably do is talk to the person of influence
Right.
and try to reason with them. Hey, our goal is the same.
Right.
Right.
I need you to I'm trying to influence them to buy in
Right.
to what I'm trying to coach. Now, if that person doesn't buy in, then it's going to be a lot harder. But that would be my first approach.
So what gets tough in that example? And I'm not trying to
Yeah,
knock LeBron.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm a Celtics fan, so
yeah,
this is gonna be rough.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like, you know, when we talk about do you want to win or do you want to win your way?
Ooh, good question.
And
You have to ask both people that.
Right.
Because if we use the example, LeBron has been the most influential
yeah,
on lots of rosters, and sometimes someone technically had authority over him and they didn't agree and that person lost their job.
lost their
Yeah.
job. Right?
It's so it is
That is
tough.
very true.
It is a tough place to be in if you have the authority and the other person is swimming in influence and you can't rein that in. I think for me, I'd probably go heavy on the authoritative position. If you're not gonna win the influence battle and you're the one who's in the right, you have the authorization to do the certain things. I think you have to pull that card that I'm the authoritative figure. And it's going to be tough because there's no, like, all right, I'm playing 2K right now. 2K, one of the cut scenes is you miss a practice. You're late to a practice. So that you're the star of the team, though. The coach sits you the whole game.
How many mom said?
So she said, my mom said, a smart woman is really in control. Don't want to use word manipulation, but similar.
The power of influence.
Yes.
I think that goes back to the power of influence.
Yeah.
I believe that you know, I think we talked about like the man being the leader in the household or whatever the case may be and dictating certain things, but we talked about wives dictating the emotional temperament of the household. And that would be the power of influence.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the term happy wife, happy life.
No.
I'm
Like
not.
I like happy spouse, happy house.
Exactly.
Just because it has like mutual beneficial
Right.
elements to it for both parties involved.
right.
And it doesn't take away, it just makes sure
Right.
everyone's
It just
included.
adds. Right.
But I say that
It's an enhancement.
that's all.
I like
little upgrade. But I say that say this. I think what she said is very important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, yo, I don't know a guy that that loves making his wife unhappy.
Right.
No.
Not a smart one.
You know, there we go.
Listen.
Not a smart one.
I've been
but
in-
also, I think
I'm about
that
to say.
women have the ability to not manipulate, but speak in a way or communicate in a way that resonates with their person.
Correct.
Right?
that's what I mean
like
by
the
influence.
masculine and the feminine attract.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also good tension. It could be like sexual tension, or there could be tension that's like argument and
Yeah.
strife, right?
Yeah.
But within that, if a woman really operates in her feminine, it's not manipulation. It's speaking to a man in a language that he's
Understands.
knows, understands, and respects.
Yeah.
It's
right?
it's
You know what I'm
very-
saying? Like my wife can tell me something that I don't want to hear, but if she addresses me in a feminine way, it hits different than if she's in a masculine tone trying to bark at me like
it's
she's
very
a dude.
it's disarming.
Bro, I seen
It's
this
disarming.
I seen this this TikTok and I sent it to my wife because it's so true. It was just like this. It said, the girl said to the husband, I've been washing dishes all day and you ain't helped me. Dude was like, I'm not helping you. Then the next
it
scene,
would be nice if you would.
then, honey, can you help me do this dishes? I gotta cook the food. Of course I'll do it. You know what I mean? And how true is that?
100%.
Unfortunately, I think the way men's brains are wired subconsciously, like if we feel a certain type of energy, we get oppositional to it.
Yeah.
It's defensive.
So yeah, like the defense mechanism kicks
Right.
in, and like there's a certain level of vulnerability and or softness
Right.
that comes with that the feminine approach.
Yeah.
Right.
That like just kind of like
disarms.
if you shout out to you having
up.
green on. If you're a Hulk, like it makes you shrink.
Yeah, it does.
Like you know what I mean. Like
Right, right.
it really tames all of the anger within you.
Yeah, yeah,
and just
for
puts you right in place.
Yep.
Well, I think it's just because that's kind of how we grew up. Just kind of like, because if somebody talks to you like that, it's disrespectful. It's seen as like, oh, you're a punk if you let somebody talk to you. Like these are the things that kind of play in the back of our heads, like probably on repeat.
100%.
But and I think that like if it's taken to that place, like a part of you gets to that place of who are you talking to? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like not to say that you would say that to your wife or anything like that, but like
But you feel it.
right, that's the feeling that it's giving.
So you know what's so crazy about it? That same scripture where it says, "Husbands, love your wives." What did it tell the wives to do?
Respect or honor your husband.
Honor and respect your husband.
Yes.
Our love languages are different.
Correct.
Women need affection. Men want affection through respect.
Correct.
If you're showing us respect, you could probably get anything you want from us.
More than likely.
Much.
You know what I mean? Like that's it. All we
Cheat
want.
code given.
Yeah, cheat code given, right? But I like
Take notes, ladies.
and that goes to the y'all heard of the word the power of the P. We know what it is.
Yeah.
It's real.
Influence.
It's influence. At the end of the day,
Hey,
bro, there
hey,
has been
hey.
the power. There has been days where I'm gonna be on my best behavior because I want to treat at night.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
that's
be
fine.
honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nicest way to say is you want the party to end the way you want it to end.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
So-
nobody wants it to end with a shootout. Like
Right.
nobody wants to be like ending in chaos. We want to have a great ending. to
All
this
right.
night.
Right.
That's
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
I mean, I'm just keeping it real. You
Nah,
know?
that was real.
I get you.
That was real.
You know what I mean? And
Pastor. That was real.
I'm keeping it real.
and I think that there has to be an understanding that no gender is better than the other. We're
Right.
just different.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
just different, right? And I like to use this analogy, and I use this analogy when we're at the men's retreat. I think of men as like an umbrella, right? We're meant to be out in the elements, right? Like if it's raining, I don't want my wife to be in that.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I want her to be covered. I want her to be protected.
Correct.
And I'm built for being out in the rain. I don't care if I get wet, right? I don't want her to get wet. I want her
Right.
coming in the house smelling like whatever it is, acid rain, whatever that is, right?
Right.
Like nobody wants that for their person, right? But in order for an umbrella to be effective, the person has to have someone who's strong enough to hold it up.
hold it
Right.
up.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I don't have a strong spouse that has my back, knows how to communicate, and wants me to be the best version of myself, I can't be held up to do my job. Because we've all seen a storm where there's an umbrella rolling around, and there's no value in that.
Right.
Right? Rolling around in the wind and the breeze. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just
There's no value in that.
tossed
It
and
can't
turned.
do its job.
Right.
But when I'm built to keep you protected, but you're not strong enough, you're not smart enough, and you don't know how to communicate well enough to hold me up so that I want to do my job effectively and live in my purpose, it takes away my value.
Yeah,
Sure.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
So let me read a couple of the comments. We got a couple of the comments. So my mom said, hold on. Amber said, happy spouse, happy house. Both need to be happy, fulfilled, not just one person. I love that.
Agree.
I love that. I love
100%.
that. Sabrina.
choice.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
Sabrina said, 28 years married, 31 years together. Influence is huge.
Okay.
My
That's
wife
somebody
back
with
on here.
experience.
Cordell, sir, we're on the internet.
Yeah, that's when you.
That sounded about right. That sounded about right.
Oh man. And Sabrina again. The power of the P is the best time to talk.
Lord.
All right. And
You like, mom, we're on the internet.
right, mom, the internet, right?
Yo, I'm so happy
And,
my mom ain't on this live. I don't want to hear
And Gabriella said,
Wow.
"What is the power of the P?" You got Google it. Google it.
Go to your local inbox.
Yeah, go to. Yep.
Somebody will let you know in the
Yeah.
comments.
If you guys got any questions or comments, keep commenting. Any questions, we'll address it. So if you want to talk about influence, authority and influence, please plug it in the comments.
And while we're here, could you message us if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about
Yes.
in the future?
Yes. Yeah.
Just so it doesn't get lost in the comments.
Yes.
So please like,
Share,
and
comment.
subscribe. So if you're not subscribed to the Under Construction Pod, please subscribe now. All right.
Absolutely. And the more engagement we get, the more lives we'll do. So if you're enjoying this as much as we are, we'll continue to do this, right? But we're looking for the engagement. So continue to rock with us.
Let's continue. What else we got on authority and power? So we went from, we just did marriage. What else you have?
Yeah. So what about pitfall or misuse of authority, right? When people use authority to overextend what it's meant to do, right? When the authority without influence breeds resentment is what I have in my notes.
I think that's essentially what causes that mistrust and causes the lack of influence or the discrepancy of influence when we have that power and we overuse it or we abuse it because you feel like, oh, I'm in power, I can do what I want, kind of stuff. And then it kind of makes people feel helpless in a way. It makes people feel like they're not heard. It makes people feel not seen. And it's something that once you realize what you have done, you'll have to build back up. And listen, it is a lot easier to tear it down than it is to build it up. Mm-hmm. So
I would a word I would use is motive. Like the person with the authority, what is your motive?
right.
Because if your motivation is to look out for the unit or to look out for self, like we said a few minutes ago, it'll show.
Right.
And sometimes looking out for self works because the unit is considered in that. But if you're solely looking out for self and it's something that could be detrimental to the unit and you're not considering those that you have authority over, eventually that'll rear its ugly head.
I'm a big proponent that actions speak louder than words. So you could tell me all the good stuff you want, but I'm gonna look at what you do. So like, and that's just how it is for me. Like I can hear you. Oh yeah, I want to hear your opinion. My big thing about this, don't ask me for my opinion if you don't really want it. Mm-hmm. And that's what people do. People will be like, oh yeah, I want opinions. I want your objections. I want all this information. And then when you give it, people are like, okay, I heard you, but they don't want to actually use that information. I would much rather, me personally, I'd much rather you just not ask me. Just don't ask. So I think when you have that place of authority, I think you should respect that place of authority. I think you should also respect that because you have been elected or however you got to that place of authority, utilize it to the best of its abilities, but also be mindful of what can be caused based off of your actions. Because just because you have the role and you make the decisions doesn't mean that it can't bite you on the back end.
I think sometimes it comes down to the person that's under you. What is their perception?
Yes.
I think we always look at it from, me forcing my authority, but maybe their perception on authority is
Correct. Tainted.
wrong. So therefore, I'm trying to give them constructive criticism. Like you're doing the things that a good leader does, but they don't see it that way.
Right.
So that's a tough thing to navigate through too, because you don't know how people perceive authority.
Yes.
Now that brings me to my next question. How do you balance the two in healthy leadership? How do we balance authority and influence in a healthy relationship?
Communication. So I would say just communicating with your parishioners or with your church members, like when you're in a place of power, or with your coworkers, not your coworkers, excuse me, with your employees, with your family. communicating clear boundaries because you're in the place of authority, but also hearing concerns so you can try to find out, did I miss something? Did I leave something out? Did I not account for something? Like, it's inappropriate. Like, my children aren't of age to drive, right? But I can imagine that at some point my kids will be driving and there will be a curfew. You're supposed to be home by X amount of clock, right? If they get their tire blows out on their way home and they get home late, I can't really hold them accountable for that. But I don't want them to feel like, oh, because I'm in this place, now I'm in trouble. Now I have to find somewhere else. Like, I have to make an excuse as to why I wasn't at home on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of executing clear boundaries and understanding why these boundaries are in place, but also that there are outliers. There are exceptions to the rule that I'm okay with if I understand what's going on. Like, the big thing that I want to be is informed. Like, if you call me, if you're on your way home, you break down, you call when you break down. Like, when I was on my way home, I got a flat tire. It's a complete. I'm disarmed, as we said before. Like, I don't feel as upset as opposed to you get home 2 hours late. Now I'm like, yo, what's going on? What happened? Where you been?
Yeah,
Because now I'm worried. You know what I'm saying?
We got a comment. Sabrina says, I was a supervisor for 10 years and workers would do because there was nothing I wouldn't do. We all hate the manager that wears the badge all the time.
Right.
And I think that's important too as a leader. If we are falling behind, are you going to jump in and do what it is that you used to do? You know, that shows influence. I was at a job and I still work there, but where we had to work before the time, we had to work until we finished all the work.
Okay.
Some days it would be 6 hours. Some days it might be 16, right? But there were times where we were so backed up that some of the managers, they want to go home too.
Right.
So some of the managers would be like, yo, I'm getting in there and I'm going to help.
Right.
You know what it did for my morale to see one of my supervisors doing the same job that I did? It motivated me more. You know what I mean? I wanted to work for them more. We all had respect for you. You know what I mean? So I think that works in all areas of life. You know what I mean? To where don't feel like you have so much authority that you're too good to do the dirty work, you know?
Yeah,
I think that's important.
That's important. And that was kind of my point. Like, when you're appointed into the space of authority, don't remember what it was like when you had the role prior to being the boss, right? Like, understanding what it felt like to have to take the direction. How the communication was effective and how the communication wasn't effective, right? And to lead from that space, right? Like, you're not barking orders. You're communicating in a way that shows respect, communicates respect. And I believe that the best leaders have been great listeners and great followers.
Yes.
Right? So understanding that, there might be somebody who's on the floor who has a good idea, right? Like, having an open door policy where you can have them come in and say, hey, I think we can up production if we did this thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not just hearing them, right? Giving them the credit for their idea and helping them to bring that to fruition, right? That makes them feel good. That makes them feel valued. So those are some of the things where you can shift your authority into influence.
Yeah. Helen says, leader versus boss mentality.
Yes.
Going off of what Terrell just said, how does that work with you guys in a parenting respect? Now, I know you guys aren't necessarily, like, your little ones are very little.
Right,
Yours, the age range is wider. So, like, I feel like as they grow, no knock to the younger ones,
Right.
you come into more contact with situations where they might have a point.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
So-
Like, it's different, but, before, like, middle school.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
I'm willing to listen to my son if they got a point.
Yep.
And I think go to what Terrell was saying, like, I had to think, but then there's sometimes like, bro, I'm not hearing that. Bro, I'm not hearing that. That's when my authority kick. Bro, I'm not hearing that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of being reasonable, like, but I also I always want to hear their point of view no matter what.
Right.
Even if I agree or disagree with
Correct.
it. You know what I mean? Because I want to let them have a space where they're able to voice their opinion. Y'all ever heard that, seen that part, like a clip of podcast? And I think the guy was on the Breakfast Club and he was like, the best place for a child to, he said, it's good for your children to talk back to you. right? And I was like, he was like, here's the reason though.
Okay.
Do you want them to just follow orders
them to
all
learn
their
how to
life?
speak up.
I
Or
got
do you
you.
want them to learn how to speak up in a place where it's safe for them?
Solid. I like that. Okay.
You know what I mean?
respect
So as much as I don't like my son talking back to me, it's practice for both of us. You know what I'm saying?
right,
It kind of,
sure.
There's some danger in
There's
it.
some
Do it-
danger
and
in
to
it,
do
too.
what you're told.
Yes. Right.
Society
Yes.
of old.
that. No, I get you. I get you.
Like, so hey, get in this car. You be
Yeah.
like, okay, grown up say get in the car.
Yeah,
That's not the grown up you listen to.
And I think there's also value in hearing where their perspective and their mindset is.
Yes.
Right? There's so often that we teach, or me and parents teach in the house, but they're spent so much time in the community, right? In school, learning
Right.
from others,
Right.
from other people, right? If you give them the opportunity to share their thoughts and opinion, you get to understand, right? Because you're more mature than they are. Like, when they're trying to manipulate, when they're trying to get out of something, or where they're trying to be sly or sneaky, right? But you can also get an inference for, wow, he's starting to use some critical thinking.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
asking questions that are making me work for the answer, right?
Right.
And you can kind of learn, like, yo, my son is maturing, right? Like, he wouldn't have asked these type of questions
Right.
a year ago. Like,
Like last
where's
time he
this
was
thought
just trying
process?
to weasel out. This
Yeah.
time
Right,
he's
right.
like really dissecting the
Nah,
situation.
I get you. It gives you a level of insight. So no, I listen to my kids. I let them speak. I made the face because when I think of talk back, I think of like you're in trouble kind of thing. Like I don't really look at talk back as in like we're having a conversation kind of stuff. Like
Well, I think when that person said talk back, they were relating it to the children are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
type
I got
of
you.
mentality
Yep,
of old,
yep.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to the connotation
Right,
of the
right.
term talk back, which goes to defiant attitude.
right,
things of that
right.
nature.
Yep.
Because that's what I think about. But yeah, no, I think it's important. I think it's important to gain insight because, as I stated before, I understand that I am a young parent. My kids are still young, but at some point, kids get rebellious. At some point, kids don't want to hear from their parents. They want to hear from somebody else. They want to hear from their cousins. They want to hear from their friends. They want to hear,
natural.
right. They want to hear from people their age. And I understand that, but I also understand the danger of that.
Yeah.
So because of that, I want to know what's going on in your head. I want to know what is your thought process, and basically to correct anything that I might find that may be small now, but may lead you down the wrong path later.
But that's when we go back to that delegation. I mean, like, you can't control everything.
Right.
But it's good to know. I mean, I'll use our church for example. Like, I think that the people that have children know that there are other adults there that like they feel confident
It takes a village.
that you know what I mean, like that look
Right.
out, like you know what I mean, like oh, like if this guy says something like yo, he's a solid guy, like
Yep,
I know he doesn't mean them any harm. I know he's looking out, like I know he means well, and I respect even in differences. I respect his point of view oftentimes in life. So you know what I mean, like. You know, I always used to call it when I've worked with young people before. I would say what's important are random adults.
Okay.
Kids have a thing within them that makes them not listen to their designated adults.
Correct. Yes.
So you know what I mean? Like the random adults feel like, oh man, this guy just
Right.
stopped
This
living
is
his
new.
beautiful life to give me a little cheat code.
Right.
So I like what he said. So you know that's why the guy down the street has some influence. The guy
Right.
at the barbershop has some influence. So it's
Yep.
like you try to make sure that you are cool with the barber.
Right.
You try to make sure
Right.
that you're cool with the people in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. Because like when you're not there,
They're gonna be
oh
there.
nah, that's Cordell's son.
Right.
All
Right.
Hey, all right, little man, yo, da da da. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
All right.
it just helps. You help try to curate the environment.
So absolutely. So my wife, me and my wife, we have conversations. My wife more so because I'm usually at work, but my wife has conversations with my daughters about appropriate conversations. So different conversations that adults have with children, some are appropriate and some are inappropriate. And she wants them to know the difference because a lot of kids, to your point, they kind of get I'm trying to think. I'm thinking swooned in my head, but like basically mishandled by adults because they don't understand that this person's trying to be sneaky or this person's trying to do something that's not appropriate. But what usually happens, because realistically, this stuff happens in our lives. These stuff happens to kids. This stuff happens every day. And it's important for our kids to know the difference, to be able to tell the signs of this person's trying to be sneaky because they don't want my parent to know what they're saying. Like, or this person's trying to like, cause it's our little secret. You know what I'm saying? Like little stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds crazy, but that's realistically what happens.
Real, yeah.
Like it's important for us to kind of like, because influence. We're talking about authority and influence, and in this place where I'm speaking, I as the parent have the authority. However, the random stranger may have the influence because they have something that they want. Maybe they have money. Maybe they have cars. Maybe they have ice cream. Like whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, sometimes it's as simple as just a glimpse.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
a glimpse into the life that a kid desires. Like
Yes.
a kid desires independence. A kid desires to be treated like an
Yes.
adult.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
oftentimes when that older person comes and doesn't respect the "I'm an adult, you're a child" barrier, that's what like shatters the distance between the two and makes them feel like, oh, he's my friend.
Right.
Like, okay, and now I can get you to like you said, what'd you say?
I said swoon.
Swoon. Okay. Like you can get duped by an adult.
Right.
That is already like shattered that barrier because you're feeling a kinship there. So that's like more or less, I don't know if that's on the question list, but that's more or less on the negative side.
Correct.
Influence.
Correct.
And utilizing influence to the detriment of someone.
Correct.
Influence, whether we believe it or not, we all have influence over
Yes.
somebody. We might not even know we have influence. That's why it's important for us to live godly lives, because we are influencing people even though we don't even know it. You know, so it's important that to mention that. And I think it made me think about my life. How, bro, my friends probably had a lot of my friends
Absolutely.
had a lot of
100%.
influence on me. Had me doing stuff just because everybody else doing it. Oh, I'm
Right.
thinking it's cool, and you know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have thought about some of the stuff that I wish I had the mind I had now to be like, I wouldn't have done some of the dumbest stuff I've done. You know
Peer
what I
pressure
mean?
is a textbook influence.
For real, for real.
Straight influence.
Herd mentality as well. Everybody
Yep.
doing it, I'm in.
Yeah.
FOMO. Fear of missing out. Like sometimes you go to
Right.
places that, you know, I mean, and we underestimate gut instinct.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you look back at some of those tougher times when you were younger in your formative years, you did have a gut instinct and things didn't feel the best,
Right.
but your FOMO was stronger. Like, your fear of missing out was stronger. You're, like, not wanting to be a part of it. Like, you wanted, like, I don't want to look like I'm not as tough as everybody else.
Yep.
Everybody else feels nervous about this, too, but they're about to do it. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, all those things. Like, it just, like, kind of compiles against you.
I love that you said everybody else feels it, because that's so true. Everybody else feels it, and because nobody's willing to say I'm not going to do it, nobody feels comfortable being the first person to do it.
I mean, it's like poker. We're all just betting and betting and betting.
Right.
Everybody's doubling down. Nobody's saying,
Yeah.
I should probably chill.
Right, but it's hard. Like, all right, you know your hands trash. Like, all right, yo, nah, they bluffing. Like, you be in your head like, nah, he's bluffing, knowing that, all right, I really don't got nothing, even if he is bluffing. Like, and it's hard. I think it's a hard thing to call. I think it's a hard thing to fold.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I'm gonna throw in this one because I understand this isn't good for me.
And the funny thing is, you don't know when there's understanding on the other side. It's funny because we were joking around when I said you wanted to see a dead body before we started. But I started thinking about let me out, though.
Yep.
Like,
Let me out.
When he said let me out the car.
That was the dope. That was the dopest scene in that movie
For
to me.
real.
But
One,
then-
because he asked, and two, because Doe let him
He
out.
let him
But
out.
without-
He stopped.
without question.
Right, he just
That's what I was saying about the-
because he knew his boy. He's like, yo, he
This
shouldn't have
ain't
been in
you.
the
He
car
shouldn't
from
have
the
been in.
beginning.
Right.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's what I was saying about you never know if there's understanding on the other side of just being honest with oneself and being like, yo, this isn't for me.
Right.
Like your man's might, like you think all your friends are going to judge you, but it's like one of your friends might be like, you're right, this isn't
This isn't for you, right?
I love that.
sure.
And
Listen.
that makes me think about, I know we're about to wrap it up. We got 1 minute left, but it made me think about, and we can't get into it tonight, but the power of influence in culture. Right? Many different cultures, right? Church, and how many times people doing stuff in church that they don't want to do, but everybody else in church is doing it.
Right.
True.
Right? And if you don't do it, you're going to be the bad guy.
Oh, you're not saved anymore.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
or you're not cool. It's clicky. It gets
Yeah.
clicky
Yeah.
everywhere.
everywhere. So, but I do like that Boys in the Hood analogy.
Yeah,
That
for
was
sure,
dope.
for sure. So this was a dope episode, fellas. I had a lot of
Oh,
fun
yeah.
tonight. I was glad that we got.
Thank
some
you for all the feedback. Sorry
sure.
for the buffering and stuff like that. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna get it. We'll have it going.
Absolutely,
But I'm glad you guys were able to keep tuned in.
Absolutely. So as we close today, I'm kind of reminded that authority and influence aren't enemies. They're just different tools, right? They shape the way we think, love, lead, and serve, right? Authority might be the door that's open, but influence determines whether or not people choose to follow us through it. You know what I mean?
I like
and
that.
with that, as I always say on this podcast, keep building.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm working on the